Good morning, I'm Brother Jason, and this is the Baptist Catechism. Question 58 asks us, what are the reasons added to the second commandment? Why should we not make any graven images? The reasons added to the second commandment are God's holy jealousy for his name and the zeal he has for his own worship. Because God is the only true God, he wants people to worship him alone because he alone is worthy of worship. There is no other being worthy of worship like the one true God is. And so he is right to be jealous. There is nobody, none, who is created that can ever measure up to God himself. There's no angel or demon or spiritual being or physical being that compares to the glory and the power and the might and the wisdom of the one true God. He has a right to be jealous for this. He demands that worship because it's due him alone. There is no other being that anyone should worship. Nobody. Nobody should worship that. Exodus chapter 20, verse 4 through 6 says, "You shall not make for yourself an idol, or any likeness of what is in heaven above, or the earth beneath, or in the waters under the earth. You shall not worship them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, on the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving kindness to thousands, to those who love me and keep my commandments." So God says in this, don't make an idol. Don't make it after a spiritual being, an earthly being, a fish, a bird, a person, or anything like that. That's not how God revealed himself. He's not his own creation. He created all of those things. So for us to put the worship on that God is due is really a slap in God's face. God is jealous. He wants to be worshiped. And so when we sin, it does have a cause and effect relationship to many generations. It will be something that if we allow it, our children will accept it, and then their children will pursue it and champion that. And we see that even in our own culture. But the Lord shows loving kindness to thousands that love him and keep his commandments. And so there's that. God does reward those who honor him, and he does judge those who don't. So he's that jealous of it. Exodus chapter 34, verse 13, tells the children of Israel as they go into the promised land, "But rather you are to tear down their altars and smash their sacred pillar and cut down their Asherim. For you shall not worship any other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Otherwise you might make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they would play the harlot with their God and sacrifice to their gods. And someone might invite you to eat of his sacrifice, and you might take some of his daughters for your sons, and his daughters might play the harlot with their gods, and cause your sons also to play the harlot with their gods. You shall not make for yourself any molten gods." God said, here, look, there's a reason for this. When you go into the land of promise, just tear down all of the altars for their gods. You don't need those. They don't represent me. That's not part of who I am. I want you to completely remove all of that, because he knew if the children of Israel left them there, they would play the harlot and worship those other gods. He knew it, and that's exactly what happened. They did, after some time, go after these other gods. God says, look, I'm the Lord. I'm the one who created all things. My name is jealous. I am jealous. I want you to worship me alone. Do not worship any other gods. Remove all of that idolatry from your midst so that I can bless you. And they went after it. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 20 says, "No, but I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to demons and not to God. I do not want you to become sharers in demons. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. You cannot partake of the table of the Lord and the table of demons." And the reality in Paul's day was there were many different gods in the Greco-Roman pantheon that people were worshiping. They had altars and temples all over many of the towns, and people were accustomed to that worship. That's what they grew up with. The altar of Zeus, the altar of Dionysus, the altar of Athena, all these other ones that these people were worshiping. And Paul says, you're either going to worship the one true God or you're going to worship these other gods. You can't do both at the same time. You're either going to follow Jesus, who is the true God, or you're going to follow all sorts of demons out there who are masquerading as the one true God, and they're not. So you can't do both. You can only do one. So that's what the Bible tells us. You can only do one. Do not be sharers with demons. Don't do that. What are the reasons added to the second commandment? The reasons added to the second commandment are God's holy jealousy for his name and the zeal he has for his own worship.